Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. Mom got her another good deal on another microwave from the thrift store, so we saved them up so that when they die we've got a spare ready on hand. I still have yet to start putting these out because I've been doing so much other stuff, and of course little Papa Bear there and Mighty Mutt's now got himself a collar. He's still blind, but he gets up and he gets around. The conjunctivitis, I won't say contact conjunctivitis, but the conjunctivitis cleared up, but his actual lenses are still apparently opaque and will probably not. In other words, he's probably going to be blind for the rest of his life. We don't know entirely yet, but it's a good probability. In here, it looks like that little critter is probably too watered. It's starting to wither even though it's not dry. In here I've got seeds, but I don't know that they've sprouted or germinated. But over here I have one new grapefruit seed that did germinate. Still, that thing is still stabilizing. It's not dead, but it's not growing any new growth. And yeah, grapevines grow in here, but it gets hot enough since I haven't opened up the vents yet, which I need to do that too. Down here, of course, we have our, this one's not looking too good. It's growing, but it's struggling. And then these seeds have not yet decided that they're going to sprout. So I don't know if they will or if I'll end up putting another seed in their place. There's the tip of one right there, but it may be that it's dead. Oh well. So, yeah, all these have to go out whether they get new seeds in them or if they come back from the dead. Of course, in here, my insulation keeps falling off. The little onions, even though they're first years, some of them are already trying to put on seeds. Oh well. Bummer. I was hoping that wouldn't happen. Anyhow, so these are, what I'm going to do is I'm going to nip the seeds on those. So they're not supposed to be putting on seeds. Even though they have been putting on seeds. They're not supposed to be putting on seeds because they're only first year. I don't know why they're doing it, but, well, what can I do? Except nip the seeds and hope they'll go ahead and not go to seed. Anyhow, so, again, most of everything in here needs to be repotted. Same old story, just different day. Now, let's get outside and look at things where changes have more often been made. You know what's amazing about Papa Bear and Jeff is they're incredibly quiet for baby goats. Baby goats usually scream and holler a whole lot and get really loud, but these two are very quiet. Oh, this thing gets crooked on me sometimes. Mom wants us in here so that they will not go into the rest of the greenhouse, but it's hard to keep it mounted in place. But anyhow, yeah. Yes, he's a little kissy. He's a snuggle bug. Yes, Papa Bear. You're just snuggly. And yeah, so is Mighty Mutt. But anyhow, we have been trying, I missed out on doing it last night, but we've been trying to start bringing in Daisy because she hasn't been handled enough. And since she hasn't been handled enough, she's still a bit wild and antisocial there. But, and I'll try to get her a little later. And Mocha, her mama's the one I just did a coccidiosis treatment on this week. Mocha there. And then, so that's Daisy up on the feeder box. And I did a coccidiosis treatment here on sugar. She's looking a little better, but not super great. It's one of them deals that she's gonna, yeah, she's getting old too. Chestnut's probably pregnant. We're figuring she is. Pretty sure of it. Yeah, her udder's filling out now. Yeah, she's, yeah, probably gonna be due pretty soon. Got me another giant lettuce that I need to harvest before the goats do. They've gotten a couple leaves off of it. The grapes here are flowering. And here again, I don't know how many of these will make it through, because it just depends a lot on if we get a bunch of rain. Yes, I haven't fed them yet today. We normally feed them in the morning, but I didn't get up early enough. So again, more flowers. And but the fields are grassing up because we've been getting that rain. Getting, you know, nice tall 6-7 inch grass in places that were barren here a while back. And it's not perfect coverage yet, but in time, hopefully. Over here, again, an extremely large number of flowers, although some of them are already spoiling even before they open. We need a few weeks of limited rain so that these flowers can pollinate and set fruit. And once that happens, then it can go back to raining and it'll be fine. This one, they already started opening, and while it did flawlessly last year, this year it does have a couple places where the flowers are dying. See, these are open right now, and hopefully they're setting fruit right now. They just need a few days without rain, and they'll set good fruit. If they don't get those few days without rain, the rain will rot the fruit, the flowers, before they become fruit. Alright, coming over here, right next to where I've already got my new project, the mountain bog gentian, we've got some touch-me-not flowers. And they're in pretty little bloom with a pretty little butterfly, which got spooked by me coming up close. Thankfully the flowers aren't so easily spooked. And I see young irises, I think. No, maybe that's not irises. I think that's yucca plants. That's not iris. So we got young yucca plants growing up through here too. And some of those yellow flowers in a place I've never seen them before. So hopefully they're propagating. A lot of flowers have really propagated pretty well this year. Now I tried planting, or broadcasting if you will, scattering some black oil sunflower seeds here last year or the year before, I forget. And they didn't do too well. And they mostly all died. But here we have one that did sprout. And it's got lots of little flower heads on it. And hopefully the goats won't be able to get to it and destroy it before it goes to seed. I've got still about 45 pounds of black oil sunflower seed in a bag if it doesn't go inert from sitting too long, that I will try again to plant it. It's a good broad soil sunflower seed, and sunflowers seem to do pretty good in a broad variety of soils. I have some seeds from a couple of giant ground cherries that are domesticated breed. I don't know if they're going to germinate or not, but I'm going to throw them out in a few places and see if they will hopefully germinate and make their own seeds, their own fruit. And here I had some success on working on the mower, the sickle bar mower last week, and this week, whatever. And so I've cut some of this to keep where Mom can walk through here and get fewer ticks on her, and then I can go through here and fewer ticks on me. And the tame thornless blackberries are going into a bloom cycle finally, and hopefully they'll put on a lot of fruit. We shall see. There's some dock in there that the deer might not get to. Again, we will only find out if it makes it or not. Over here, I tried to avoid, since those flowers were going dormant, I didn't really avoid completely cutting them. I did try to avoid cutting the raspberry stems, but I ended up getting a couple. But you see, the raspberries, they got fruit on them, and you look at how many flowers. You hear all the cicada flies. There's the cicadas' skins. They're all over the place. You hear them crying in the background, mating call. So yeah, hopefully I'll get a lot of fruit off of these. Of course, again, all the grass outside the field where the goats aren't eating it is nice and tall, because, well, nothing's competing and killing it. But inside there where they're eating it, it's still struggling. Because Sugar, of course, being a goat, she's eating. And that's what they do. Hopefully she'll get healthy enough to give us at least one more round of babies. She's getting old. She's around 10, I think, or 11. I'm not really for sure how old she is now. But yeah, she's kind of getting along in age, and so that coccidiosis is going to hit her hard. I guess it hits anything hard. Rose of Sharon's haven't put forth any blossoms yet, but they might any day. I really don't know what time of year they're normally. See, the problem we run into is we're behind here. We are behind. There are other places where a lot of these flowers are already fully in bloom or even past blooming. So we end up, even though some of our flowers bloom before others, some of them they bloom after. I don't know what makes any difference, but something makes some difference. And all the irises have done their thing, and the reason I mowed in there was to get some tree bush stemminess. Now this might be one of those black oil sunflowers. Thankfully, if it is, I haven't cut it. I don't know where all I've spread them. I don't know where the varmints have spread them, like the squirrels and stuff. So they could be anywhere around here. This thing was covered in more fruit earlier in the year, but it seems to not have as much now, I think, unless I was mistaken. But the mulberries. But the one up here, let's see if it's still got much. One of my fellow goat keepers has a whole bunch of mulberries, and they're doing quite well. Yeah, this one's got a lot more fruit on it, and it's further ahead. Of course, then again, the birds are more likely to eat them than we will, because they just get to them before we can. So this one's ahead, and it's got a lot more fruit. Plus, it's got grapes on it from that vine right there. It goes from there up to that tree and in here. So, yeah. Now you do have. I guess I was wrong. We do have some late blooming irises over here. Oops, sliding. The ground is steep. I gotta watch out that I don't fall. So, little good bearded iris, nice and rich. And then there were some others over here that I may not have gotten a good picture of. There were some yellow ones, and then there's some more of the purple bearded ones. Oh, there they are, over there. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. No, that's a daisy, I think. I'm not aimed at it right. Up. I can't find. Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Yeah. That's probably the last one of those that'll be here for the year. Of course, the creeping phlox have done their thing already and gone dormant. They were up for a very short period of time. Of course, the daisies will be up for quite a while, as will the golden alfalfa flowers. Or yellow, golden, yellow. Anyhow, not to be mistaken for goldenrod. Now, are there any remaining apples? Who knows? It didn't set very many fruit to start with, so it may cast all its fruit. There's one. Okay. There's a couple here and there. They'll be a little more evident as they get bigger. A little shed out here I'll need to break down and set aside probably, and clean that up, set it aside for later. And again, the peach ain't doing nothing. Well, the peony finally opened up. Let's go over by it. I don't know of a safe way to get there without falling and hurt myself. Of course, these little flowers, which I don't know what they're called, always make me think of hemp. And then the dusty miller is up. And again, I gotta watch in here because this is super uneven ground, hidden by clumps of grass. Let's get a little closer. Oh yeah, that's right. And there's also some rose hips in here. A few here and there. So the dusty miller, that's its only thing is it's a fluffy white, feathery looking plant, and that's its only redeeming value to people who raise them as an ornamental. Otherwise, it's just another common, ordinary, arguably weed, I suppose. On the other hand, the peony is looking quite nice. Looks like it lost a flower blossom there. Bummer. Oh well. But on the overall, yeah, it seems to have selectively lost a few of them. And the ones that have, this one's really huge. Yeah. See, that one was the center, and it got all the way up. Some of them, the centers failed. Some of the centers got really big. So, yeah. 3 blossoms that failed to make. And a stem that broke off. Okay, bummer. Oh well, too bad. So yeah, they're pretty. Kind of intermittent, but pretty. Another powdery yellow iris over here. Some more bearded iris over there. Maybe some seed pods, who knows? A little snake in the grass. Hopefully not a water moccasin. They are around here, and we have possibly lost a couple baby goats to water moccasins. Another little yellow iris. These things have already pretty much finished their year of flowering. And more yellow irises. They're not easy to see because they're not really bright till you get right up on them. And then whatever this mint is, it's a mint, I know that, but I don't know what it's called. Well, there are a few more of these little flowers coming out. Not many. And these flowers, which are hemlock, gotta watch out, they're not edible. And then of course the blackberries are doing well. I didn't know if they were going to do well this year or not, but they're doing really well now. And then more irises. More black oil sunflowers. Seems to be that the ones that waited to germinate are doing better than the ones that germinated right off the bat and then keeled over and died. So it might be that they really would be better off sitting in the ground for a season before they decide to sprout. Now over here, as you can see, the vetch is putting lots of seed on. Now I've spread lentils around, but they don't seem to have actually germinated, or if they have, I can't tell yet. I had germinated lentils one year, but then they turned around and got flooded out and died. I don't know if they're even germinating at all right now. They might not germinate till way later, though. In which case, maybe they're going to do the same thing as the sunflowers. Maybe they'll sit in the ground for a season. Who knows? Well, just a very, very few of the verbena are up. They've almost, done their thing for the fall, the summer, and then they'll come back in the fall. My experimental celery, I want to call it a cabbage. Celery is doing okay at the moment, it seems. Hasn't died yet. It's probably the longest living experiment I've had. Now, we had a lot of foxglove and stuff through here in the past, and we may have it in the future. But right this moment, I did see some wild petunias in here, and I know that the butterfly weed's coming along. There's another one of those black oil sunflower seeds. I've got high hopes that they'll come up and do something good. Okay, it's either a foxglove or a lady slipper. I never am for sure which it is. And then, of course, there's another. But they're all in full bloom everywhere else, as our larkspur. And various purple coneflowers are starting to come up. And there's the butterfly weed. Hasn't quite opened just yet. That's the oldest, largest one on the property I know of. Of course, the dog's bane hasn't opened up yet. Now, getting off of flowers for a moment. Had a problem here with brand new pair of brake shoes, and they came unbonded. So I've got the drum out to be resurfaced. Hopefully it'll be done by tomorrow, so I can put that back on. And then I got another set of brake shoes to put on here, new, and I'll keep all the spares, because if I get another set, I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to take off one half and leave the other half on. That way I keep my labor to a minimum. Okay, over here the onions have gone to seed. The elephant garlic seems not to have wanted to try to flower this year. So I'm going to duck under my propane tank, and it's heavy enough to squash me to death, but it's on enough cable strap up there to not be worried about. So yeah, I don't see any sign of flowering from the elephant garlic. Now these sunflowers might be Jerusalem artichoke. Jerusalem artichoke is a form of sunflower. It's not an artichoke, which is part of the lettuce family. Jerusalem artichoke is part of the sunflower family. That's what I was looking for the other day. I knew I had one over here. I just got to remember where it's at and make certain that I get it where it needs to go. Because, well, it's it's a tomato cage, and well, I got potato vines over here. Got 3 of them now coming up. And this one, it's got flowers too. Yay! They're indeterminate. They're what am I trying to say? Regular russets. Those are russet potatoes, and I'll keep stacking them in soil until they get really crazy tall. Let's go around this way real quick, and we'll look at things. Let me see here. Let's set this right here, and I'll worry about it later, because in fact, I'll just set it right here in this bucket. Alright, so now we can get back to another subject that is only inside here right now, and that is the mower. Get this off of here. Just set it in here in a hurry. So I went and I fixed the blade, sharpened it. I put new drive belts on it, and I modified the clutching mechanism to work the way it should. So now down is not on. Down with the handles is neutral, is disengaged, and full pressure squeezing it engages the belt. That's the way they should have been from the factory. I don't know why they were built backwards, but I fix the problem. Now I had a few reason there's so many layers here is because I made a mistake multiple times. Instead of making 2 pieces for 2 sides, I ended up making 5 pieces for 2 sides because I screwed up. So I had to fix my mess up because my brain wasn't working right, which it often has that problem. Now, this spring that was in there, which keeps it locked in gear, I took that out because that was a bad deal. And again, it has brand new belts in there, so they are hopefully good for several years. Then I went out and I was mowing, and this little piece, which you may have seen before if you've seen me work on it, had a stop in the middle, right there. Well, it broke. And I understand why it broke. Hang on a minute, I got ticks all over my legs now. Just swarms of them on my legs. That's the problem. That's why I don't like to get out in this kind of weather, because it's still moist. It's not hot and dry. Therefore, where it's moist, they're all over the place. I'll have to check myself repeatedly for ticks now because it takes forever to find them all. But anyhow, so what happened is this broke. Now I've got another bolt here so that I can put this drive shaft, which is also made of a bolt that I did. So one custom part to another. So if you look in here, it's really hard to tell. It actually broke right there. As I've ground it down some so I can get it in there further, and I'll take the Dremel and I'll grind it a little further than that so that it will, sorry, I'm still catching ticks on myself. Alright, so I'm going to grind it down further so I can settle this in. I'll cut the head off of it, put it in there and weld it. And then what I'm going to do different, see it's got these 2 flanges here. I'm going to make another flange. Let me set that aside. That piece, set that aside with it. And these pieces. Now, this piece, if you look down the end of it, if I can hold it right, is this piece. And that is that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld the stub and it'll stick up here. Then I'm going to cut another piece of angle iron I've got. Actually, I've got one that's already pre-drilled, in fact, that might be perfect. Or at least partially pre-drilled. And I'm going to try to fit that in here, right, and then it'll bolt to right here. That'll allow me to build an assembly for this. And so this will no longer sit there and flex like that and break off, because this piece will hold it. It'll be held equally and rigidly at this point. Sorry, I didn't get it at a good angle. I'm terrible about that. So, yeah. The darkest part there that I inked in the most will be the new part of angle iron. And I'm pretty sure I already know which one I'm going to use out of all of them I've got, because I've got one that's off the track loader that will be probably perfect for this. And then the bolt right there will, wrong bolt. Where did I just put it? This bolt will go in here, but with the head cut off, and then there'll be a nut put up here so that I can tighten it down in place. Possibly even have a shim mounted locker in there or something, just to make it where it's less prone to even wiggle a little bit. So anyhow, that is. And then also, I thought the thing was smoking real bad. It turns out all it really had was it had too much oil in the block somehow, and so it was over full on oil and it was smoking all over the place. So I took some oil out of it and it quit smoking. And it could be that it actually had water in there or something, I don't know. But it didn't seem to have motor mayonnaise. In here, nothing is really changed. I just came over here to grab a couple beers. Because, well, why not? I'm here, and services are over, so it's not like I'll be drinking alcohol during the services. And so I just put a couple of those in my pocket, and then I can drink them as I walk around. One nice thing, kind of one of them deals, you put a tool bag on, say somebody says, what's that for? Well, clearly it's for holding beer. Well, obviously no. It's for holding hammers, nails, screwdrivers, pliers, and things like that. But a tool pouch does actually make a pretty handy beer pouch. However, that said, clearly that is not what it's for. I just say that in jest because of the fact that a lot of people would say it was. And yeah, I'm going to put you down while I pop my beer. You see, here's a piece of angle iron that's an option, but it's not the one I'm going to go for first, because this one doesn't have any holes already drilled in it, and it is I don't know, hang on, let me root around over here and see if I can see it really easy or not. No, I don't see it right off the bat. Oh well, no biggie, it's around here somewhere. So, nope. And it's not even something I need to worry about today. It might be in that pile of steel over there for all I know. Okay, let us go other places and discuss other topics. So there's fleabane daisies. More fleabane daisies. Practically everything around here is some form of flower. I don't know what they're called, but these things will be covered in flowers pretty soon. Of course, there's Queen Anne's lace all over the place. It'll be covered in flowers pretty soon. There's another black oil sunflower. Here, I have a bunch of potting soil that was hiding under the truck, and it's still, some of it got rained on. This stuff, see the cracks in it? Upper layer of it got wet. So we had enough rain that these buckets were full to the top, some of them. Not all of them, some of them stayed dry. Got covered enough that they didn't get wet. This will make flowers, and they're part of the pea family, and they'll stick to you. They're beggar lice type. And of course there's more of the mint down there. And yeah, asparagus, still doing its thing. The cherries, although it's set loads of them, it's casting loads of them, or the birds are getting them, I'm not for sure which. But it is producing more than it ever has before at this point, so I'm still hopeful there'll be some. And it's pretty much true on every plant that they'll all experience about the same amount of fruit loss. Of course, there's the white clover, which is doing really well this year. Especially where the goats aren't eating it. And there's the golden clover. It's all over the place, even with the goats eating it. Over here we've got our tomato plant that hasn't put on any new flowers lately, but it's got, if I can get to them, let me see here, a couple of fairly pretty tomatoes on them. Hopefully they'll come out to be big and juicy and fresh. This is supposed to make a indeterminate beefsteak type, big boy type vine that will grow and grow and grow. And so my goal is eventually, I've already potted it up. Technically the bottom of the pot's only about here, so it's got stem and root as deep as the compost. And as it grows taller, my goal is to keep building up on the stems, pick off the leaves and build up on the stems with roots so that it'll get stronger as the season passes. But it hasn't been putting on new flowers lately, so I may have to do something about that. Some of them don't. Well, there's a new set of flowers right there. So, and other flowers that it had, I don't think they set any fruit. So, it had more flowers when I got to it. I'll probably have to put more phosphate in it to make it flower better. Just generally, oh, here we go. This is what it's called. Bonnie Brand Big Beef Hybrid. It is a hybrid. Full sun, transplanted into the ground, which says harvest time 73 days after planting. I don't know how this plant was. Oh, there's the fruit right there. Good. So I just keep wanting to see new fruits. All the time you want new fruits, because, especially if you've only got one tomato, then what's the plant? I spent $20 on this plant, and if it only makes 3 tomatoes, then it's a complete waste of time. But, and there's some more flowers right there. So, if it makes good flowers and makes good fruit constantly, that's the goal. It's up here now. Eventually it'll be down the ground. The reason it's up here, honestly, is to discourage the deer from eating it. And it's under this roof line specifically to make certain it always gets enough water. For any who'd worried that it's going to drown, there's a hole in the bottom of that bucket. Therefore it won't drown. You know, you want good moisture with good drainage, and that's what it has. Now, I could, if my track loader was working, be fooling around with this iron deposit, but I haven't, because it's not running and I've got other things I need to do. And while this looks like it's part of the iron deposit, this is clay I brought over from the pond area, so it's not immediately full of iron. That does not mean there's an iron underneath it. There most certainly is. It's just that, you know, there's a layer of clay on top of, because as you see, the soil changes to a darker soil where I haven't put clay down. That's what was already there. I wonder if that's another, looks like another black oil sunflower seed. They might be quite successful this year. I'd be very happy, seeing as, oh, there is a larkspur down here. There's a wild petunia. I don't know if they're early or not, but there's a wild petunia. And there's a single lone larkspur. No, there's 2 larkspurs. Okay. Alright, so we got 2 larkspurs. There never were a lot, but there are fewer now than there were in the past. So, unfortunately, something around here no longer agrees with them enough for them to be out in massive volumes. So I'll have to figure out how to fix that. Eventually, when I get the park area finished, I will go to great effort to make certain that it really supports all the flowers that we want. Over here, and I kind of ran through this here, pretty sure is horse mint. Looks like horse mint. But even if it is, it's not super rich yet. Yeah, it's horse mint. It's just not super rich. It's really mild and faint when it's younger. You pretty much, you really want to wait till the end of the year to harvest it, because that's when it's got the most oil in it, the most fragrance and flavor. Now, I mowed in here a little bit. I realized I might have cut down a couple horse mint. I won't mow in here anymore because of the fact that there are horse mint in here at the moment, but I will eventually mow in here when they're past their prime. So because I'm going to start setting that up right in here as a reservoir for iron ore. I gave it some heavy thought, and I'm going to come through here and I'm going to open this area up. It's got concrete underneath it. It was a house foundation. Just like that was part of it. There was a septic tank there. Arguably that is a septic tank. It's just not in use anymore. I'm going to try to pull that out, save the concrete from it for whatever. In fact, since there's a little hole in that, I might put concrete in the hole just to make it where it's solid. And then I'll put iron ore over there because I want a place where I can put the iron ore and be absolutely certain that it is not being washed away as fast as I dig it out of the ground. Boy, I'm just covered in ticks again. Ants. Ticks. And while I suppose one should kill every tick they see, I'm not in a position really to do that. But they're just everywhere today. Oh well, I'll just have to pick them off of me. But anyhow, so the horse mint I picked last year, I still haven't finished completely sorting it, de-stemming it, crushing it, and everything. So it's kind of still in mid-process. Now up here, and I'm walked out of there, and I'm gonna walk back in here. Should follow my own path, right? Anyhow, the crepe myrtles are finally up. Took them a long time to open up. Everybody else's crepe myrtles have been up for about a month, I think. So, hopefully, maybe this year it'll put on some flowers. Maybe. No promises. Let's go see if we can see any, of course, there's some more purple coneflowers that will be open eventually. Over here with the daisies and the golden alfalfa. That one's really rich. Short, but full of flowers. Alright. So, again, fields of daisies. The daisies will keep popping up for several months now. Probably till August. Now, yes, I did cut the tops off of a few purple coneflowers coming through here. Because I went through here and to get to them, I knocked off a bunch of purple coneflowers getting to a bunch of brush. This thing, to my, see here, and this is butterfly weed right here. They're still in the process of blooming. They're pretty good right here compared to other places. Could be because I put more phosphorus over here. Yeah, these ticks are like crazy over here. Yeah. Just endless stream of ticks. Yeah, they're all over. It's almost like walking through an ant colony, only it's a tick colony. I'm sure I'll be bit all over by tonight. Apparently more black oil sunflower seeds. I am so happy to see them. Can't tell you. Okay, oh, I keep forgetting what these things are called every time I look at them. I know what they are and I can't remember what they're called. I hate that. Anyhow, it'll come to me when I'm not thinking about it. Again, this tree, lots of flowers, looks pretty. Nothing real evident yet on the catalpa, but it will. It'll put on a few. Not a lot, a few. I know what them stupid things are. Keep wanting to call them geraniums, and I know that ain't what they are. Anyhow, no, they're not hydrangeas either. Well, you know, when you got a messed up brain like me, you can have 1.5 million words in your head and not be able to put a single one of them to what you meant to say. It's like, what I meant to say is blah, 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 blah. It's like, what do you mean? Well, I don't know, because I can't say it. It's like I mean to say something, but I can't get it out. Give me a minute and I'll probably think of them now that I'm walking away from them. Try to shift my mind on something else and then it'll just pop in my head. No. And I'll just suddenly say something like, oh yeah, this and that. And then you'll be like, what? And it'll be like I went backwards in time to the previous conversation. But anyhow, of course I haven't done any more work on this truck yet. Just since I got the drive shaft on it, it can be driven. Technically, not legally, since the lights aren't mounted up on the back. I hope to find some LED lights I had purchased for the express purpose of putting on there. Don't know where they went to. What I need is LED lights that have enough draw on them to work with a regular thermal flasher rather than the digital flasher. Something that draws over 5 amps of power so that I can get my, what is that, 5 amps, 12 volts is 60 watts, yeah. So I need 60 watts of LED light power to get a thermal flasher to work at 12 volts. Well, looks like they got bit or something right there. Yeah, I didn't spray them, and so they're full of wasp bites. Not bites, implants. Yeah, crud. Stop now and then to scratch a few dozen ticks off my legs. That's one of the drawbacks to all this rain. All these ticks. Yeah. Very frustrating. Keeps me from going anywhere anymore because everywhere I go I'm going to get covered in ticks. I know there's ways to keep the ticks off you, but unless it's really nice and cool, it's really terrible hot. Ironically, ticks like the nice, cool, shady places more than they do the hot, scorching areas. So in between nice, cool, shady places, you got to wear clothes that are not accommodating to hot, scorching areas. And all like great shady places. Okay, here's another one. Again, the nightshades. They make a pretty flower. Some of them make a lot of pretty flowers. Blue nightshade's poisonous. Yeah, if you eat it. Man, that one is loaded. I don't have a problem with nightshade. I really don't. A lot of people are really hateful of it. I realize it's poisonous. I just don't eat it. It hasn't taken the place over. I haven't had to do anything to fight it off, you know. What kills me is that Perilla is poisonous. And it's a swarmer. It's an invasive species from China that, you know, I mean, just in case you didn't think the Chinese haven't been here invading us for a long time, Perilla mint is from China. And it's very poisonous. It can kill your livestock in a very painful manner. Slow and painful. Look at the water over here and think of something a little less unhappy than that. Beautiful creek. Huh. It's a glass ball down here. Wonder if that came from something that I had upstairs that disappeared. I don't know what that... No, it's not from my place. It's a light bulb though. Wow, I got hot. I got seriously hot. In fact, the filament almost looks intact. I'll take that home. Don't know what I'll do with it, but it's really neat. Again, those are irises of a different kind. Didn't realize. I thought for a long time they're cattails. They're an iris. Neat. Alright, so yeah, there are little fish in this little divot, this little pool in the creek, but it never gets deep enough for big fish, and it never stays full enough of water for big fish. Otherwise you could raise trout and bass and all sorts of goodies in here. But since you can't, you know, it's been kind of one of the deals. The only way you'd get any good use out of the water here is to build a really deep, well, lake essentially. And now they got laws against that. So if you tried to build a lake down here, you'd either have to get special permits, or you could get in a lot of trouble with the globalist elite that are trying to make certain that you never do that anymore. And if I did all that, yeah, I would have to get rid of all this much land anyhow, because every bit of this creek bottom land would be completely submerged. And I'd have to own the land on both sides of the creek. We'll put this over here so I don't have to mess with it. There we go. I'll come get it someday. Until then, it might sit there for a dozen years. Nobody knows. I don't know if you can see this without me zooming in on it. I'll try to zoom in on it. These, yes, those little things are indeed flowers. Let me see if I can, there we go. Obviously they're not real pretty flowers, but they're green, and they're full of pollen. Those are flowers too. There are a whole lot of things that are flowers here that are not really pretty. And they're actually not on my list of wildflowers, even though I know they are flowers. They're actually not on my list of flowers because you can't really see, like these things, they make fruit, but they don't really flower very often. Now this one might, but it might not. Instead, it just opens up little babies. You know, so these things make seeds that aren't flowers per se. On the other hand, again, we've got lots and lots of hemlock type things down here that put on pretty flowers, but they're deadly poison. I don't really worry about it a lot since the goats are smart enough not to eat it, and it hasn't swarmed here. I probably should take care of it though, because it could swarm. Now Doc, it puts on what looks like seeds without flowers too, but it's edible, so it's a food crop. Wild food, but a food. And so I don't worry about it. Now, of course, down here, most of this is just plain grass, and you know, it just has plain grass flowers. Therefore, it's not in my list of wildflowers. But then you got this stuff here that's pretty sure it's a mint. It makes a flower, but the May pops are still up. They haven't really seen them flower this year. Thought there were going to be a lot. Instead, they just took forever to come up, and then now this is a green dragon. There's its flower. Its flower's already apparently finished pollinating, yeah. So it'll go to seed soon. It's pollinated. The little tiger lilies, I don't know if they're even here or not anymore because the deer may eat them. There's a wild blackberry. They'll come and swarm this place. Not a big deal because A, I like wild blackberries, and B, I can always put the goats on them and they'll just devour them. No mercy shown. These broadleaf things, they make flowers. Don't know what they're called. They make flowers. Of course, wild lettuce makes flowers. Here we got a few stray red clovers. I brought a bunch of red clover seed in here a while ago, and it almost utterly went extinct overnight. There's an onion grass flower. It's amazed they're still blooming this late in the year, but they are. Here's an already pollinated Jack in the Pulpit. It's already done its thing, and it's over for the year. Except making the seed head, which is fine. There'll be trilliums up pretty soon. They flower a little later than Jack in the Pulpit. Oh yeah, I meant to go over here to the elderberries. We may get a couple elderberries this year. It seems because they're higher than the deer are willing to stand up and knock them over. Oh, there's another green dragon, and there's another green dragon. Cool. Maybe a bunch of them eventually. So the deer got this end of it, right? But look at all the flower crowns coming up through here. So I might have some berries on a couple of these taller plants. The deer won't chew them off to the ground like the goats will. So, pretty much one of them deals that where I'm at, I'm basically just hoping that they'll outgrow the deer. And I do plan on fencing this area off someday, because it's one also, this is what we call the stair steps, and I want to actually make a real set of stairs down them, plus it's going to be a waterfall at the same time. And some people say, are you crazy? Then it'll be slick. I got plans for it. It'll be a waterfall, but it won't be slick. So you'll be able to walk down it if you feel like it. Now, as far as getting your feet wet, just depends on how much rain's falling off of it when you come by to it. And it will have some under drainage and side drainage so that it doesn't just every bit of it flow. Okay, so here's more Jack in the Pulpit. The way you know Jack in the Pulpit immediately is it's got this camouflage looking stem, and often the flowers are camouflage looking. This bunch is already flowered and it's set fruit and gone to its later thing. Some of those are really young, new Jack in the Pulpit anyhow. Oh yes, here we go. Wild passion fruit. I've been waiting for them. Unfortunately, the deer will eat them like crazy. There's another green dragon. I'm very happy to see the green dragon. It's a beautiful plant, makes an amazing colorful seed fruit. These mints will be a major bee pollination, nectar source, pollen and nectar source. Here's some more Jack in the Pulpit. I didn't know what that was called until I went to a florist. So there's one that's already flowered and going to make a seed head. I don't know what this stuff is. I used to know. I've forgotten. The deer like to eat it. I can't remember if it's a mint or a pepper. But the deer like to eat the flowers. Kind of annoying. I never get to see it make enough fruit to know if it's a pepper or a mint. But a lot of things make me think that it's a mint, but I don't know. I've never seen it in full bloom or seen the fruit on it to the point of knowing, because the deer like to eat it. Usually deer won't touch a pepper. They're part of the nightshade family, but sometimes I've seen them eat a tomato and they're part of the nightshade family. I don't know. Really don't know. Of course, my poke, hypothetically, I could nip some tops. If I do, I still got to get a cook pot set up for it, and I'm not really set up, but I need to, so maybe I'll just bite the bullet and get in there and see it's already starting to flower, so it's going to be going to seed soon. You're not supposed to be picking it this late in the year, but on the other hand, I'm really hopeful that a lot of seedlings are coming up with this poke, because I want more plants so that when I do harvest, see, there's a flower right there opening up. Really need to be in here more often. But I'm so far behind on everything this year that that's usually the case. I'm just always behind. This area right here, I have to spray it every now and then because it fills up with perillament. And that's why it's kind of barren right now, plus it is a flood zone. So, although I do see a green dragon, I think, or maybe that's a tree. I don't know. The other side is getting rid of little trees, because I don't want trees in here. That one's dead, thankfully, because I need to get rid of it. That oak will probably come down eventually, too. If we get this property net right here, I'm just going to fence it off and let the goats clear it best they can before I even worry about doing anything else with it. Because I just want to get rid of as much underbrush and poison ivy, and this is a flower. I don't know what it's called, but it'll open up soon. Of course, another grapevine. This one has made monstrous fruit in the past, but it's been a while since it made fruit, since the tree that it was on fell over into the creek, and I cut it back and set it along that fence row. Of course, I still haven't done anything. You can see recent earth moving from the groundhogs. They're all over the place. They're brave, they're bold, but they're crafty and they won't let you catch them. And I don't tend to carry a gun with me because of the fact that it's probably rust. I guarantee you, if I had a gun on me every day, it would rust, it'd get nasty, it'd get metal filings in it. It'd be a piece of junk pretty soon. Because it's really hard to do the kind of work I do and carry a gun. And plus, you hardly ever see them stinking little brats because they're fast and they're very alert. They're very wary animals. And I wouldn't care if they weren't tearing up my property so much. And if I could, I'd just get myself some kind of way of, and I do hope eventually to get some kind of way of dissuading them from being here. In other words, oh yeah, here's another one of the pretty little mints that comes up every year. Sorry about spooking y'all, little. Apparently they know I'm here. They went away and didn't come back. And there's this little kind of mint. It's got a little taste to it. It's kind of more like oregano, but not exactly. Anyhow, pretty little mint. And there's some more. And it seems to be propagating, and that's good. I thought I'd save some of its seeds, but it turns out that I never got them planted. They probably were better off to just fall right into the ground underneath their parent plant, as to me trying to save them. Certainly for now anyhow, since I don't hardly ever know what I'm doing. Here's a flower, don't know what it's called. Teeny tiny little bitty flowers. Barely see them. They're all over the place, but they're hard to see if you're not staring straight at them. Big old giant mosquito trying to land on my arm. Too many things in my hands to smack it. Let's see if we can get in here without hurting myself. More kind of a mint-like flower product. I say product, plant. Nut sedge, various sedge plants that come out here that like, yeah, there's loads of sedge. Uh-oh, there's a perilla mint right there. Yep, perilla mint's coming up. Little monsters are going to be out. I'll have to fight with them tooth and nail. The sedges are not flowering, they're just a grass, but they're good around water. I thought these things were utterly worthless, these willows, but apparently you can use their tender branches and bark for a hormone to cause rooting and seed germination, so I'll be keeping an eye on them. Of course, here we've got our my brain went dead again. Watercress, barely making it. I don't know what that bunch of algae is about. It's just a bloom of algae, I suppose. Some of it over here, some kind of long stringy algae. And of course cattails. And then of course our only last remaining honeysuckle. I forgot all about that. Mom for some reason hates honeysuckle. I think it's awesome. I'm not going to get rid of it. I was doing things way different until she put my name on the title, because I told her the only way I'm going to keep my name on the title and the only way you're going to guarantee that I stay here is if I get to make all the decisions and the discussion. When she said yes, I do a lot of things that she doesn't agree with, like let the honeysuckle grow. She's a lot less upset about it now. More green dragons here and there, which will kind of be a little complication because I'll have to move them to finish building this fence. Not because the goats will eat them, but because I'm going to end up running over them. I see a lot more perilla mint, unfortunately. And right now, today is not a work day, so I can't be in there just mass harvesting, perilla mint to kill it. So all of my land belongs to the edge of the creek. Oh, there's another honeysuckle. Beautiful. Good. I like that stuff. Something just jumped away from me. Wasn't anything big, but I heard it flicking through the leaves. I don't think it was a rabbit. Oh yeah, I came over here to show you the little white rose here. Pretty lovely. It's about done already. I haven't had a chance to get down here and really get a good shot of the white rose. See if I can get a good broad. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, this will have to be trimmed back because it's sticking over the field into the goat pen, but it won't hurt it none. And since I won't be trimming it until after it's probably done flowering anyhow, it'll just have to grow that direction for now. Can't blame it for doing what it's doing. It's doing what it's meant to do in nature by God, so it's not like it's doing anything wrong. It's just one of the deals that I'll have to trim it back to fix the fence, and then anything that ever tries to grow past the fence, the goats are going to tear it up anyhow, so it'll get trimmed whether it wants to or not at that point. So yeah, that's pretty much everything going on here, bulk of it. And other than ongoing battle of ticks. Hopefully this year we'll get chickens, and that'll get rid of a bunch of the ticks. Chickens eat pretty much all bugs that they see on site, regardless what they are. Everybody says, oh, you know, guineas eat ticks. Oh yeah, sure they do. So do chickens. Chickens even eat mice. So, yeah. With the last bit of rain we got some pretty good washateria in here. Pretty much ripping up the road. Hopefully someday we can do something appropriate about that. Again, looking at the iron vein, it washes out the soft iron that's not super gene enforced and leaves the, I guess you call it, gossiness material behind. So yeah, you could say that that is gossin of a sort. Not much in the way of gold in it, but again, I got pretty high hopes for other materials. And I'm not saying there's zero gold. Some people say that arguably there's a little of everything on Earth, everywhere on Earth. And that makes perfect sense. Especially if everything on Earth started as one collective molten ball of mixed materials. And while, sure, over time, things separated and stratified based on things like crystalline structures. I mean, you know, as they cool, as they change chemistry, they will, you know, separate out. I have absolutely no illusions that I'm going to find the mother lode of gold here anywhere near me. It's a small mining district, arguably speaking. It's only like something around 400 that was it, right? It's about 200 by 200, vaguely 40,000 square miles of a deposit, roughly, at its maximum. And yes, while I am pretty much dead center of that, sorry, I'm looking in here for more ticks. While I am in the dead center of that area, I'm really not in an area that is known to be real rich with gold. Mostly rich with silver, zinc, lead, copper. In fact, it's mostly rich with lead and zinc. Silver is a byproduct most places, and copper is a side product most places. There are smidgens of cerium, there are smidges of cadmium, mostly cadmium, I think, if I remember correctly. By the way, I have not finished working on my tool to D-shape that. Hopefully pretty soon I'll get back on that, because I need my track loader running, and to make the track loader running I need to have that working, and so on and so forth. So we shall see on that. Anyhow, well, I'm going to go ahead and call that it here in a minute. I'm done resting up from climbing up the hill. Climb up the hill some more, get tired again, and go feed my babies, and that'll be pretty much it for my day, because see, there's a stinking tick right there on my hand. I can kill them. It just never seems to kill them all. So I look at it this way. If I can just keep them off my body, that's all I can hope for. And if I pick them off while they're here in the shop, there's really nothing for them to eat. Hypothetically, at some point they'll starve to death. That's my hopes anyhow. So yeah, I will get back with you all next Sabbath and show you something else. So again, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom.